You not in person, but on TV, was at the men's final at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
You were in Djokovic's box.
Yes.
Ooh. And you were the first hug he gave when he came up.
Yeah.
You guys go way back. What's the connection there?
Look
at that.
He's first friends with my wife.
At the U.S. Open final, as the cameras panned across roaring crowds and flashing bulbs, something unexpected happened that left people buzzing. Novak Djokovic had just secured another massive victory, but when he climbed into the stands to celebrate, he didn't turn first to his team, his family, or his coaches. He wrapped his arms around someone else, Hollywood star Matthew McConaughey. In that instant, social media lit up with questions. Why was a tennis legend hugging an Oscar-winning actor like a long-lost brother? What kind of connection was hiding in plain sight? When asked about it later, McConaughey explained that the bond went deeper than people realized. Djokovic, it turned out, was a longtime friend of his wife, Camila. Long before Matthew even entered the picture, Camila had built a close friendship with the tennis icon, and over the years, that bond naturally extended to her husband as well.
And a warrior. And the resilience of what he's done, it's amazing. So anyway, yeah, I was happy to be in his box. Got to sit behind his parents, which was really awesome to see them when he brings them up and where they started.
The three of them had shared quiet dinners, long conversations, and private moments away from the paparazzi. For Matthew, it wasn't about Hollywood glitz or sports stardom. It was about mutual respect, resilience, and family. He recalled sitting behind Djokovic's parents during that match, watching the emotional reunion between the athlete and the people who had believed in him from the start. That moment, Matthew admitted, wasn't just about tennis. It was about legacy, perseverance, and the power of family roots. But online, people weren't satisfied with that explanation. The sight of Djokovic embracing McConaughey before anyone else became a lightning rod. Fans speculated, rumors spread, and theories swirled about the unlikely pairing. What looked like a genuine moment of friendship quickly turned into internet chatter about hidden meanings and strange priorities.
An anti-vaxxer?
So, yeah. Just so you know.
Way to bring it down to it.
You
I'm
were,
just kidding.
you were in
I think he just won and ran towards you. Like, I feel like that's what I would do. Like, that's Matthew McConaughey.
I think I was sitting in just the right seat. He was coming down the stairs. I was on the back right up top, so there I was.
You and Camilla have 3 kids. Levi, who's 15,
Yes.
Vida, 13, and Livingston, 10.
Yes.
What kind of dad are you?
And yet, that embrace marked the beginning of something far bigger. For McConaughey, the attention shifted from Hollywood roles and sports box seats to the deepest role he's ever embraced, fatherhood. When pressed about what kind of dad he was, McConaughey didn't hesitate. He said being a father wasn't just important, it was the one thing he always knew he wanted to do in life. Long before he dreamed of acting or fame, he had seen fatherhood as the true mark of manhood. At 8 years old, he noticed something that stayed with him forever. Every man he looked up to, every man he respectfully called sir, shared one common trait: they were fathers.
That's a probably loaded
Kind of
question.
dad.
I'm a good dad.
We got 20 minutes for this answer. I'm working on it. Look, being a dad was the only thing that I ever knew I wanted to be.
Oh.
I knew that at 8 years old. I remember shaking hands with my dad's friends who he would introduce me to, and he was a big sirs and ma'ams man. And I noticed that everyone I would say yes, sir, to over the years when I was 8, it's like, oh, the one thing that's common is they're all fathers. Maybe that's why I'm calling them sir.
That simple observation shaped him, anchoring his belief that raising children wasn't just a role, it was a calling. McConaughey spoke with unshakable pride about his 3 kids, Levi, Vida, and Livingston. He described how, from the very moment they came into the world, their personalities shined through.
And I was like, that's my aspiration. That's when you become a sir as a man. And that was my idea when I was 8, and I still believe it in a lot of ways. So, look, as y'all know, those of you who have children, you find out that DNA means a lot more than you thought it did after you have kids. They come out who they are.
Are they like you?
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Even as toddlers, they carried quirks and traits that remained part of who they are today. He emphasized that DNA plays a far bigger role than people think, but that the environment parents create matters just as much. For him, fatherhood wasn't about forcing kids into a mold. It was about guiding them as they grew into who they were always meant to be.
And they're all very particular and different as well. So we shepherd them along as parents with an environment that does matter a lot. But boy, they are who they are. The same things I was writing about their peculiarities when they were 2. They match with who they are, what I'm writing about them today.
The audience could feel his sincerity. This wasn't Hollywood charm, it was raw honesty. But as the conversation turned more serious, McConaughey's words shifted from fatherhood to heartbreak. The mood grew heavy when the hosts brought up the tragedy in his hometown of Uvalde, Texas, the Robb Elementary School shooting. Just days after it happened, Matthew and Camila had stood at the White House, not as celebrities, but as grieving community members. The world still remembers when Camila held up a pair of green Converse sneakers, worn by one of the victims, Mike Rodriguez. Those shoes, one of the few recognizable belongings left, became a haunting symbol of innocence lost.
I want to applaud you for being so outspoken against violence and gun violence in particular. And you're Texan, and you spoke so passionately at the White House last year in the wake of that shooting at Robb Elementary in your hometown of
That's why we're
Uvalde.
wearing these little pins, right?
Yeah, your wife held up one of the victims' green Converse. Her name was Maite Rodriguez. Her mother, Anna Rodriguez, sent these to us. And to learn more about it, you can check our website later.
For McConaughey, that moment wasn't just about mourning. It was a turning point. He launched the Green Lights Grant Initiative, a program designed to unlock billions of dollars meant for school safety. The shocking truth, he discovered, was that most of the money from the bipartisan Safer Communities Act was sitting unused. Why? Because small school districts didn't have the staff or expertise to file the grueling 50-page applications. In many cases, superintendents were juggling roles as bus drivers, coaches, and administrators. They didn't have time to navigate complex paperwork, even if it meant securing funds to protect their students.
But I remember that you and your wife were very involved there. And now you have launched the Green Lights Grant Initiative to help make schools safer.
Yes.
Please tell us about that.
Thank you for the opportunity to. So what we found out after what happened at Robb Elementary and in many other schools, the first bill was passed in 30 years to help make schools safer. Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Billions of dollars to safe schools.
McConaughey's mission became clear: bridge that gap. He wanted to cut through the red tape and make sure schools could actually access the resources meant to protect children. Unlike politicians who drown in buzzwords, he pinpointed the real problem and offered a practical solution. That straightforward honesty sparked speculation.
What I find out months after the bill's been passed is that very few applications are going in from the school districts. And for those that are applying, very few are getting granted and awarded. So the money's still there. And we're like, wait, where's the gap? Well, we found out that these superintendents that have to fill out these grants to the government. A lot of them are driving the school bus and they're the PE teacher, and this grant process is 50 pages and it's intimidating.
Wow.
And I don't know about y'all, but I have trouble making it through filling a custom card out without having to scratch stuff out. It is intimidating, so they don't have the expertise at the time.
Was McConaughey preparing for something bigger, like a future in politics? The idea wasn't far-fetched. Not long ago, he had quietly considered a run for governor of Texas. And when pressed on live television about whether political office might be in his future, he didn't dodge. Calmly, he said if he ever believed that was where he could be most useful, then yes, he'd do it.
The government wants these grants to be filed. They want to spend the money. It's use it or lose it money. And if we don't spend that money that the government has by 2026, it could be reallocated.
In 2021, you considered a run for governor of the state of Texas. Do you think political office is in your future? Can you see that?
If it's where I would deem myself to be most useful?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's when the conversation turned sharp. Joy Behar, never one to shy away from a pointed question, cut in with a challenge. Could McConaughey actually get elected in Texas if he was anti-gun?
Do you think he would get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
The trap was obvious. A simple yes or no could backfire instantly. But instead of flinching, McConaughey refused to play the game. He didn't let himself be boxed into a headline-ready soundbite. He made it clear that if entering politics meant parroting labels and slogans, he wasn't interested. His defiance left the room stunned.
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is playing a game that I'm not interested in playing.
What Joy and others didn't seem to realize was that McConaughey wasn't anti-gun at all. In fact, his views shocked people on both sides of the aisle. After Uvalde, he had laid out his stance in a powerful speech. He didn't call for sweeping gun bans or mass confiscations. Instead, he demanded responsibility. He supported mandatory background checks, raising the minimum age to purchase AR-15, style rifles to 21, waiting periods, red flag laws, and strict accountability for anyone who abused their right to own a weapon.
We need to raise the minimum age to purchase an AR-15 rifle to 21. We need a waiting period for those rifles. We need red flag laws and consequences for those who abuse them.
His message was clear. These weren't restrictions meant to weaken the Second Amendment. They were protections to preserve it. McConaughey argued that reckless extremists had hijacked the amendment and that responsible gun owners were tired of being lumped in with them. For him, it wasn't about erasing freedoms. It was about making sure freedom and responsibility walked hand in hand.
These are reasonable, practical, tactical regulations to our nation, states, communities, schools, and homes. Responsible gun owners are fed up with the Second Amendment being abused and hijacked. These regulations are not a step back. They're a step forward for a civil society and the Second Amendment.
This was a bold position, especially for a Texan. Too strict for hardcore activists, too lenient for anti-gun crusaders, it placed him squarely in the middle, a place few public figures dare to stand. And on that talk show stage, it showed. While the hosts tried to pin him down, McConaughey remained steady, refusing to give in to the false simplicity of their narrative. Viewers noticed. He wasn't dodging like a politician or pandering like a celebrity desperate for applause. He was speaking from conviction, and that struck a chord. He wasn't just pushing back against a loaded question. He was pointing toward a truth most are too afraid to say aloud, that the root of violence isn't just the weapons in our hands, it's the collapse of responsibility and grounded masculinity in our culture. And that left viewers with a haunting final thought. If society keeps raising boys without teaching them how to protect, how to lead, and how to love, then some of them will inevitably choose to destroy. If you found this story thought-provoking, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments.